It feels good for a desire to formulate within you, doesn't it? And doesn't it require some living of life for that to happen? Isn't it often about contrast that helps you to focus your desire? And is the desire a good thing to have come about? And so is the process that brought it about a good thing too? So in the spirit of, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Do you have the ability to make the contrast that has helped you come to a decision or come to a desire? Do you have the willingness to appreciate the very contrast that helped you with your clarity? Because if you can appreciate your contrast that brought you to this new, clearer place, rather than condemn the contrast that harassed you into the new decision, you can go a long way to lining up the vibration within you. And by the time that this gathering comes to a close today, it is our desire that you will understand more clearly than ever before that that really is what it is all about for you. It's about you getting your energy into alignment. Your energy can't be split. You can't want something and doubt it and get it. And even more, you can't want something and doubt it and feel good either. And if you're not feeling good, you're not going to get what you want. So if you want something and doubt it and you feel bad, you have a different trajectory than the one that you want. But the most important thing, the only way that you can sort it out easily, because you could read a lot of books on right action, and you could compare your behavior or your experience or your possessions or your creating to everyone else on the planet, and all you would do is get yourself all mixed up. The only thing that you need to do, and the only thing that you can do, is understand your own energy combination. But before you can understand that, you've got to know that you are more than you see in these bodies, and that there is a larger part of you who existed before you came into these bodies, who still exists, who is constantly becoming as you move through life and come to new decisions. When you don't have enough of something that you would like, and so life is harder for you, in the midst of that contrast, you are launching these vibrational requests, whether you know you are or not. Sometimes you speak them right out loud. I want that, or I don't want that. But the majority of your requests that you make all day, every day, and have been from the moment that you came into this physical body, the majority of those requests are vibrational launchings. They are intentionality. You know how your pets, these lovely beasts that sometimes you get to spend time with, you know how they don't talk, but you know that they still have desire. If you have the privilege of being up close to some of them, you can tell that they have intentionality. And whether they or you ever speak a word, you are all living life and you are all launching rockets. And the larger part of you is riding that rocket and becoming the vibrational equivalent of that in full fashion. Now, you may accept that or you may not. And whether you do or not is not important, because it is, and that part of you is summoning you at all times. In other words, when you came into this body, that non-physical part of you was calling you into alignment. And once you became aware of your emotions, you had a crack at using your guidance system in order to follow the path or the trajectory or the calling of your source. When you, no matter how old you were, when you were appreciating something, and you did plenty of that then, you were in vibrational alignment with who you really are. And the emotion that you felt was the indicator of that. And it's still the same way. As you are moving through your day today, or any day, you are giving your attention from your personality, from your focused perspective, from your see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, you, that you know as you and that others accept as you. You are projecting vibration all day based upon what you are observing or pondering or remembering. Whatever it is that you are focused upon is vibrational in nature, and therefore you are too while you do that. And there is this relativity that you must understand. There is this relationship that you must understand. And it's the relationship between who you were before you were born, who has been evolving ever since you've been in this body, and who stands as a viable point of attraction. This non-physical you, sometimes humans call this soul. Sometimes you call it source. We've been referring to it as your inner being. But whether you recognize it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, or whether you accept it or not, this is a vibrational aspect of you that is dominant and projecting a vibration. And it's a vibration that is so powerful that when you sync up with it, you flow in a feeling of appreciation or love or passion. You are radiating who you really are when you're in vibrational harmony with it. And when you get crossways of it, you don't feel good. And the reason you don't feel good is because there is a short circuit going on. You've introduced resistance into the equation that matters, and you don't feel so good. You're not clear-minded. Your vitality is not there. You don't have good timing. You don't feel happy. In other words, when you are not in sync with who you are, you don't feel good. And it's so interesting because, we love you so much. You know what's coming next. Without even meaning to, you have, for the most part, in your human form, reached for someone else in human form for your backup, for your approval, for your validation. And maybe this is the best day ever to say to you, you've been looking for love in all the wrong places. Because the source within you is that love, is that knowing, is that allness, is that sureness, is that worthiness, is that love, is that clarity, is that definition, is that knowledgeable next step. But if you have set aside your recognition of your alignment with that, and instead you're seeking approval in some other way from some other person, then while sometimes you get good advice and sometimes you can get fairly good guidance, it is not consistent, and they were not born to guide you. They were born to sync up with their own guidance, and so were you. So what we're really wanting to talk about here today is our favorite subject that has evolved with those like you who have been willing to play with us over time, as we take this subject of you create your own reality to the subject of the reason you do is because you are offering a vibration constantly. And since you are offering a vibrational constantly, law of attraction is responding to that vibration. So law of attraction, the most powerful law in the universe, the only one really that you ever need to understand, this law is drawing to itself equivalence. So the inner being part of you is calling like to it. And you, in your conscious form, are calling whatever you've got actively to you. When you are in sync with your inner being, now there is one strong calling, and under those conditions you thrive. But if you're calling something different, if the source within you is loving that person that you are so mad at, you've got split energy. If the source within you is knowing your value and you are doubting it, you've got split energy. If the source within you is certain of the path leading you to the financial well-being that you want, to the stability that you want, to the empire that you want to build, to the relationship you want, since the source within you is aware of who you are and what you want and where you stand in relationship to everything you want and is calling you to it, if you are not in sync with that vibration, you don't feel good because you're pulling against your own current. Not a current of a source that has decided that it knows better for you than you do what you want. A source energy that is with you on all that you have carved out of all that you've ever lived. A source energy that knows who you are, that knows your value, that knows where you belong, that knows the vibrational nature, the true vibrational nature of your being. So as we've been talking about this powerful law of attraction, which is the reason that you create your own reality, now we are wanting to talk to you about something that most of you are sort of hard of hearing about. And what that is the value that it would be to you if you would decide today to begin to find to try to find, to sniff out, to try to find, and then to follow your path of least resistance. But before you can understand what your path of least resistance is, you got to understand how strong the current is that's calling you to your abundance, to your wellness, to your clarity, to your knowing, to your love. So when you find someone who is really a rascal, and we know, you've looked hard for them and you've found quite a few of them. And you've labeled them, you know where they are, and no matter how far back in your past they live, you can go find them anytime you choose. And there are plenty of others who will talk with you about them if you get them engaged, because they've got some just like them and they will vent with you. So as you give your attention to something like that and you feel the discord of it, early on, right away, you feel the discomfort of it. You can feel whether you're clear or confused. You can feel whether you feel good or whether you don't. You can, whether you admit it or not, you can feel the difference between words of appreciation and words of condemnation. You can feel the difference. And the reason that we know that so clearly is because we know the source within you and how the source within you feels. You see, the source within you, your inner being, Abraham, whatever you want to call this non-physical cadre who has your back, who is aware of you, we are not threatened by anything because we understand the laws of the universe. We know that you create your own reality, and we know that we do too. So we're not worried about some rascal who seems to be projecting something that is unwanted, because we know that that rascal does not have any ability to get into your experience unless you invite it through your attention. We also know you have to give quite a bit of attention to it before you create a vibrational thread that gives you access to this thing that you do not want. So since there is no assertion in this law-based universe, this law-based universe that is based on attraction, since there is no assertion, no one is coming after you. Sometimes it feels like they did, and sometimes it feels like they got you because you weren't paying attention to what you were doing, and so you were offering a vibration that you didn't realize you were offering. And so when it manifested, you say it came out of the blue, and we say no, it didn't. It came out of the oblivious. It came out of the unaware. It came out of the offering a pattern of vibration for a period of time, for a long enough period of time that you started at a point of attraction and you were unaware of the point of attraction, usually because it feels so normal, or maybe even so normal, or maybe even so normal. And so you've got this sort of normal feeling, so you're not aware of it until it manifests. So it's like this. You've got a trajectory or a path of least resistance, and when you deviate from it, you can feel it in the early stages. It feels like negative emotion. But if you don't notice it, don't worry. Law of attraction makes both trajectories stronger. So who you really are gets stronger, and who you're being gets stronger, until the crevasse between who you really are and what you really want, and who you're being and what you really don't want. In other words, this crevasse gets stronger and stronger, and eventually there's a manifestation. And then you say, hey, why are you asserting this unwanted thing in my experience? So Esther has been so eager, just lapping up this business of path of least resistance. She's decided to give herself permission to do what feels best to her. And she's decided not to try so hard to get everybody else to affirm with her that it is the right thing to do. In other words, would you please validate me and confirm with me that this decision that I've made is the best for everybody? That's not how it works. You can't decide for everybody. You can only decide for yourself, you see. So Esther's been listening to us. She listens to us. She can't hear us as clearly as you do under these conditions, but afterward, she listens to every word we speak, sometimes many times, as she's processing recordings and listening. So Esther is listening to what we're saying about path of least resistance, and she's beginning to feel stronger and clearer and more ready to serve herself, more ready to do the things that feel best to her, and more willing to not try so hard to figure out how everybody else is going to feel about the thing that she's decided, because when she tries to figure out what you or anyone thinks about what she's decided, then she introduces resistance to her path, and then she doesn't have clarity, and then she wants to blame you or whoever it is. So she made a few decisions recently, sort of tiptoeing down the path of least resistance. Oh, that feels good. Oh, yeah, that feels good. Oh, that really feels good. Oh, I really think I'm on the path.